here's another question on function, which says that write down the letter for each graph which does not represent a function. Now we know that for that we have to do a vertical line test. This one fails the vertical line test because the line cuts the graph at more than one point. This one passes it, this one passes it, this one passes it, this one fails it, and this one passes it. That means A and E, these are not graphs of function. The rest are. Okay. Second part is write down the letter of each graph which represents a function that does not have an inverse. Okay. Before you start part 2, remember that now you're not going to consider part A and part E at all because they are not functions to begin with. So now we do the horizontal line test to check if the function has an inverse or not. And we're looking for a function that does not have an inverse. Okay. So horizontal line test passes because there's only one point of intersection between the horizontal line and the graph. So this will have an inverse. Here it fails. So it will not have an inverse. So C is one of those functions which will not have an inverse. D will not have an inverse either. E will have an inverse. So C and D are those functions that will not have an inverse. Next part of question 13 is this. The diagram shows the function f defined from -1 to 4. So that means that the lowest point on the graph is going to be -4, the lowest x value, and the highest x value on the graph is 4. Okay. So it says that this graph has two parts, a linear part, this one, and a non-linear part, this one. And the linear part starts from -1 and goes till 1. And the other one starts from 1 and goes till 4. Okay, so I've marked 1 in the diagram as well. Next, it says find the range of the function. So the range is the values of y that the function can take. So when x is -4, what's going to be the y here? Let's see, let's substitute. Oh, I'm sorry, the graph was supposed to start from -1. Why did I write 4 here? This is -1. All right. So when x is -1, we get 3 times -1 -2. That's a -5. So we write a -5 here. Okay, next would be the value of y when x is 4. So we're going to substitute 4 here. 5 minus 4, so that's just 4 over 1, which is 4. So we get a 4 here. So the maximum value of y of this function is 4, and the minimum value of y of this function is -5. So then fx is going to be between -5 and 4, and we will write equals to sign because we got -5 from this -1, and there's an equals to sign there, and we got 4 from this 4, and there's an equals to sign there. So this is going to be the function's range. Next it says copy the diagram and sketch the inverse of the graph. For inverse, we know that we have to draw a reflection of the original graph on the line y is equals to x. So I'm going to draw the line y is equals to x first. It would pass from 4, 4 and 0, 0. So a line like this. Also, let's quickly note this down that when x is 1, what's going to be the y? When x is 1, you could use either the upper equation or the lower equation because both of them have 1 in their domain. So that's also 1. So when x is 1, y is 1. All right, so then the reflection is going to look like this. and the other line would pass somewhat like this. So this should be the function of the graph of f inverse of x. Okay. Next up is obtain an expression for f inverse of x, giving also the set of values of x for which the expression is valid. Okay, so we find f inverse of x. I'm going to write it in the form we see here. So f inverse of x for 3x minus 2 is going to be x plus 2 upon 3. And for the other one, it will be y is equals to 4 over 5 minus x. Swap places of 5 minus x and y. Then 5 minus 4 over y equals to x. So 5 minus 4 over x equals to f inverse of x. Okay. Now, what is this? Giving also the set of values of x for which for which each expression is valid. So that means we need to give the domain for f inverse of x. And what is the domain of f inverse of x? The range of f. So let's go back to the graph. We had noted down the ranges already. For the linear part, the range is from -5 till 1. So we'll write -5 here till 1. And for the green part, the range starts from 1 till 4. So here the domain will start from 1 till 4. That should be the answer.